What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey. Of course, this is your host, Trey, and today we're going to talk about this Thursday night NFL matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. All right, so this game will be played November 7th, 8:15 p.m. East Coast time. Game will be kicked off at M&T Bank in Baltimore. All right, the line is currently Ravens minus 6.5. Over-under is set at 47 when it first came out. That over-under has since jumped up. And then when I say jumped, I mean really jumped. That over-under then went all the way up to 53. Some places you can find a 52.5 or even a 53.5, guys. All right, so and there's also line movement. It's gone in the, I guess, the Bengals direction. This came from that 6.5 down to 6. All right, let's go ahead and let's talk about this matchup real quick and what's been going on between these two teams, man. Cincinnati Bengals have lost to the Eagles. They beat the Raiders, and they play the Chargers next. Now, so it's not a look-ahead spot for them. The Cincinnati Bengals have won 3 of the road games. Joe Burrow is completing 70.2% of his passes for 2,244 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Jamar Chase and Mike Gesicki have combined for 1,070 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns, while T. Higgins, he's got 29 receptions. All right, now the Cincinnati Bengals ground game is only averaging 94.2 yards per contest, and Chase Brown leads the way with 479 yards and 4 touchdowns. We'll dive a little bit deeper into what's been going on there. Now let's get to the Baltimore Ravens. So let's go ahead and talk about the fact that they just traded for Tre'Davious White. I think that's definitely a good move to try to shore up their secondary, which has been the weakness for the team so far this season, but only time will tell, right? How he's going to assimilate to the Baltimore culture and whether or not he's still even worth that. I mean, he hasn't really been a great corner in a couple of years now. Don't know what happened to him last year in Buffalo, but he just fell off. He fell all the way off. All right, but anyway, so Baltimore Ravens have lost to the Browns, beat the Broncos, and they play the Steelers next. The Baltimore Ravens have won 3 home games, all right, or 3 straight home games, and Lamar Jackson's completed 68.2% of his passes for 2,379 yards and 20 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman have combined for 1,100 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, while Mark Andrews, he's got 24 receptions. Baltimore Ravens ground games averaging 191.9 yards per contest, and Derrick Henry leads the way with 1,052 yards and 11 touchdowns, guys. All right, so taking a deeper dive into this matchup and taking a look at how these two teams have statistically been performing out there on the field, let's talk about it, man. So, Cincinnati Bengals are averaging 26.2 points per game. That's 7th best offense in the NFL, but they're going against the 23rd worst defense in the NFL when you talk about a Baltimore Ravens team that's allowing 24.3 points per game. As far as yards per play, Cincinnati's middle of the pack, 5.6 yards per play. That's 14th in the NFL, and guess what? Baltimore matches them head up. They give up 5.6 yards per play, and they're 21st in the NFL. As far as on third down, Baltimore has the 2nd worst third down defense in the NFL. They allow you to convert a third down on 46.22% of the attempts, whereas Cincinnati, they're 3rd best on third down in the NFL, man. They convert 46.9% of the time. And then when you're talking about red zone, they're 3rd best in the NFL there too. They score, and check that box, 69.23% of the time. That means they score 3.1 touchdowns a game, also 5th best in the NFL. So 3rd best in red zone scoring, 5th best in touchdowns per game on offense scoring. Whereas Baltimore team, they're middle of the pack in both of those actual metrics, where you got opposing teams scoring touchdowns in the red zone 55.17% of the time. That's 15th in the NFL. And then you're also giving up 2.7 touchdowns a game. That is 19th in the NFL. Versus in the inverse, a Baltimore Ravens offense that's the 2nd best in the NFL as far as points per game, scoring 31.4 points per game. And Cincinnati, man, they give up 25.2. That's the 25th worst defense in the NFL. Baltimore is number 1 in yards per play. They get 7.1 yards per play. We're going against a Cincinnati team that allows you 5.2. Okay, that's ninth in the NFL versus first in the NFL, guys. On third down, Baltimore converts on third down 45.74% of the time, and guess what? Cincinnati allows you to convert 44.54% of the time. That's 26th worst in the NFL, man. So it's definitely a lot of opportunity for this Baltimore offense, but also a lot of opportunity for this Cincinnati Bengals offense as well to move the ball and check that box. Now, Cincinnati does allow teams, once they get in that red zone, man, they're giving it up, man. They allow you to score a touchdown 67.89% of the time. That's 27th in the NFL, and they give up an average of 3 touchdowns a game. Okay, that's 26th in the NFL, guys. And when you're going against a Baltimore Ravens offense who checks that box 74.36% of the time, number 1 in red zone in the NFL, and they score 3.8 touchdowns a game, that's second best in the NFL, man. This is definitely telling you why it then crept all the way up to that 53 or that 52.5 from where that number originally was, guys. So Cincinnati going to be able to run the ball? No. Okay, because Baltimore's got the number 1 rush defense in the NFL. They give up 3.4 yards per rush, and that's 75.7 yards a game. And like I spoke to you about earlier, Cincinnati's only getting 94.2 yards a game on the ground. That's 27th worst, and they're only averaging 4.1 yards a carry on the ground. So they ain't going to be able to run the ball, man. But we know Baltimore is going to be able to run the ball at least over the full length of the game. Like, if in short spurts, maybe not, but if a full length of the game, yes. And the reason I say that is because Baltimore's averaging 5.9 yards per rush. That's number 1 in the NFL. And Cincinnati, they're 6th best in the NFL as far as what they allow to the opposing team. They only allow 4.2 yards per rush, which keeps them in good standing, but until you look the full game. Full game, they give up 130.4 yards per game. That's 18th in the NFL. And they're going against the Baltimore offense, man, who gets 1.4 touchdowns a game on the ground. And that's 4th best in the NFL, while still getting 191.9 yards per game on the ground. That's 1st in the NFL, man. And when you're going against a sieve of a Cincinnati Bengals defense that gives up 1.3 touchdowns a game, that's 29th worst in the NFL. Definitely opportunity for Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. Definitely, I definitely like that. Now, what's going on with the passing game? Because we know Baltimore ain't been able to stop nobody. They're 28th in the NFL as far as opposing yards per pass. That's 7.9 yards per pass. But they're going against the Cincinnati Bengals offense, who's really middle of the pack. They only average 7.4 yards per pass through the air. So that gives the opportunity for them both to, I guess, match up evenly at that point, man. Now, when you look full game, though, Cincinnati's getting 236.3 yards per game. That's 7th best in the NFL, and they're completing 70.2% of their passes. That's 4th best in the NFL. Going against a Baltimore defense who has given up 66.37% of opposing teams' completions. Okay, and they're also allowing 280.9 yards a game in the air. That's the 32nd worst in the NFL, guys. All right, now Baltimore on offense, they can pass the ball. Okay, hence another opportunity for Baltimore to put up some numbers in this game, man, because they average 9.3 yards per pass. That's number 1 in the NFL. They're completing 68.36% of their passes. That's 9th best in the NFL. And as far as yards per game, they're 3rd best in the NFL. They're getting 254 yards a game, guys. They only allow you to get to the quarterback 4.83% of the time, which means you ain't never touching Lamar. And then it wouldn't matter anyway because Cincinnati can't do it. They only get to the quarterback 5.35% of the time. That's 29th worst in the NFL. They give up 6.7 yards per pass. That's 9th best, but total game, they're middle of the pack, 212.4. So definitely major opportunity here for an over and a team total, man. Right now that team total for Baltimore is set at 28.5. All right, I definitely think there's opportunity there to get over the 28.5. I definitely like that so far, guys. I also think the Bengals should be able to get over their 21.5, man. I think that's a possibility. So I like the over 28.5. I like the over 21.5. Yeah, and that only puts you at 49 points. 50 points, and that'll save you 2 points on where that actual over/under is, or 3 points, because right now it's set at 53, guys. All right, just so you know, just a couple tidbits, man. Anyway, back to where we're at, to the regularly scheduled program, guys. All right, so when we're talking about stat splits for these two teams and how they've looked in the last 3 games, we're talking about a Cincinnati Bengals team that's giving up 26 points per game, or they're only scoring 26.3 points per game, and they're giving up 25. Whereas Baltimore scoring 35.3 and giving up 23, guys. So definitely an opportunity to the over. I mean, just looking at it, look at that. That's 58 points, 58.6 points per game in the last 3 games when you're looking at Baltimore. And when you're looking at Cincinnati, that is 51.3 points per game in the last 3 games, guys. When you got an over/under set at 53, I mean, you got a lot of opportunity. Then you look. Now, situationally, it's a different story. Situationally, Cincinnati scoring 24.3 points per game and giving up 17.8, and that's on the road. Whereas Baltimore at home, they're scoring 32.3 and only giving up 17.3. So defense tightens up a lot more at home, and they continue to put up numbers, but the offense puts up a little bit less numbers. And Cincinnati, their defense tightens up on the road, but they put up a little bit less numbers on there. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, it could save you something on that over/under if you were just messing with the team totals. You know, team totals is definitely the way to go, I feel. Especially that over the 28.5. That's a minus 135 on Hard Rock right now. So that's definitely somewhere I'm gonna be looking at. I'm probably gonna place the bet there right after we get off of here, man. Okay, so going a little bit deeper into the situationally, right? So these two teams, we know they're coming into the season, right? We're coming into the game right now. Cincinnati's 4-5, and Baltimore 6-3 straight up. Now at home, Baltimore is 3-1, and on the road, Cincinnati's 3-1. So this is where the rubber's gonna meet the road. But as an underdog, Cincinnati is 0-2 straight up, and as a favorite, Baltimore is 6-2. As an away underdog, Cincinnati is also 0-1 straight up, and as a home favorite, Baltimore is still straight up 3-1. Okay, now against the spread, Cincinnati's 5-4 and Baltimore's 5-3-1. At home, Baltimore's 2-1-1, and on the road, Cincinnati is 4-0 against the spread. And as an underdog, or as a road underdog, they're 1-0. Okay, and against the spread. Whereas Baltimore, as a home favorite, they're 2-1-1 against the spread, guys. All right, now as far as over/under, it's been 6 to the over, 3 to the under for Cincinnati, and for the Baltimore Ravens, it's been 8 to the over, 1 to the under. Now at home, Baltimore has been 3 to the over, 1 to the under, and on the road, Cincinnati has been 2 to the over, 2 to the under. And when they were away underdog, that game did go over. All right. So, like I said, definitely a lot of opportunity in here for the over, man. Okay, looking at these two teams and just their stats and this and that, the third, guys, in the last 10 games. Well, that goes back to last season, but just looking at Cincinnati Bengals are on a 2-game over streak. Okay, Baltimore Ravens, guys, are on 5-game over streak. They hadn't had an under since they played Buffalo, and it didn't go under because of them. It went under because of Buffalo, guys. All right, so that should let you know a lot about this. But the thing is, head-to-head, man, Baltimore runs the series 6-4 straight up. It's been 5-5 against the spread, and it's been 6 to the over, 4 to the under. So it's been trending to the over. These teams have played 3 straight overs going back to September 17th of 2023. They played each other 3 times, and the 3 times they played each other, it's all been overs. All over unders at around 48.5, and the lowest one was a 42.5. But they, like I said, that's why this thing's up as high as it is, because the history, because it's a rivalry, because how they've been playing. This is going to be a high-paced game, guys. Really high-paced game. All right, so let's go ahead and let's look at this real quick. Let's take a look at the last information I want to give you guys, which is the Bengals have lost each of their last 9 Week 10 games against AFC opponents. The Ravens have also won each of their last 8 Thursday games at M&T Bank. The Bengals have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 6 November games as underdogs against AFC North opponents, and the Ravens have covered the spread in each of their last 5 games against Bengals. The Ravens also have scored the first touchdown in each of their last 7 games following games as favorites against AFC North opponents. The Bengals have also lost the first half in each of their last 10 November road games against AFC North opponents. And the Ravens have won the first quarter in each of their last 5 November games against the Cincinnati Bengals, guys. All right. So, heading into week 10, the Ravens, we know they're number 1 in yards per game. Ravens are number 1 in rushing yards. Bengals are 3rd in third down percentage, and the Bengals are 3rd in red zone percentage, guys. So, who's going to win it? Well, Cincinnati Bengals have had some issues stringing together success. Their defense isn't trustworthy, and they're banged up on both sides of the ball, man. Baltimore Ravens are rolling outside of their weird loss. They're rolling outside of their weird loss to the Browns, of course, but which wasn't weird because I had the Browns. But they're 5-1-1 against the spread in their last 7 games, and at home with a short week, it's hard to bet against the Ravens side right now, especially the way they're running the ball and how physical they are as a team. You know, the line is just under a touchdown. If the line was to move, I liked the line at 6.5 or 7 with the Bengals. I think that was definitely playable, definitely viable. I still might even look there with the Bengals plus the points, or might buy a couple points. But if I'm going to be honest with you, the safest way is to just go ahead and take the Baltimore Ravens minus like 4 or something like that. And I love the over, or like over 53. I like over 28.5 points for Ravens. I like over the Bengals, 21.5 points, guys. So yeah, I like the over. All right. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Also, Derrick Henry, anytime touchdown, go ahead and lock that in too. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe. I'm going to holler at y'all. See you at the window. Peace.